Hello and welcome to my video where I walked the Williams Landing Preserve Playground. My name is Deepan Gilhotra and for my unit 6010 Plays Play in the Languages of Science, I explored the mathematical concepts of shapes and geometry. Let me walk you through my explorations as I engaged with the plays for my concept. In my exploration, I engaged with the plays to develop that what Anne calls in her book Pedagogy for Ecology, an ecological identity, something that allows us to experience the land as our home and nurtures a relationship between us and the earth. While walking the grounds, I nurtured a relationship with the fresh breeze and the cold grass. I developed an ecological identity with the nature as my contact zone, which Hardaway explains as the way we intentional and learn from plays while also exploring the mathematical language of shapes and geometry that surrounds us every day and every second, but seldom do we pay attention on it because we live in a culture that dismisses the importance of having an ecological identity. This is not the same for children though, as their world is a small world and they pay attention to the smallest details such as crack in the sidewalk, quoted by Anne as she adds, children have access to the world that adults don't acknowledge. In my exploration, I looked at different trees and rocks and wondered like a child about how they were different to one another in shape and geometry. I looked at leaves in awe and compared the shapes and compared how my own learning of maths in classroom recognized basic shapes like square, circle and rectangles. But these were different. These shapes were unique to one another while each living thing shared the same name, a leaf, a rock, a tree, but each a unique shape and geometry. How did they stand together and find this shape? Were they always this way? These allowed me to ponder on questions that I can ask children in ece60 to allow them to become curious and involved too. To ask these questions and observe the presence of unique shapes and identities, I had to be present and engage with complexities, which means to develop and pedagogy to understand and observe things in different ways of knowing, being and doing. These elements of nature affect all of us. The trees and leaves provide beauty and freshness in the area, the rocks provide aesthetics to our world, and the man-made geometrical staircases, buildings and furniture all provide ease for us by being precise in their shape and geometry. The shape of tall trees provides shade, the geometry of buildings provides comfort and safety, and thus the mathematical concept of shapes and geometry is something we are surrounded with. In exploring this concept, I chose Williams Landing Reserve. Of course, the park that I visited, as well as any place, does not exist without its history and ethical context, and this allows us to connect to the origins of the place too. While connecting with place and use it as a contact zone, knowing the origins helps us develop a pedagogy to connect with the place and develop an ecological identity that help us teachers in ece60. Children see the world differently, and to help them shape concepts of the world through language of science and maths, we must see it differently too. This was my exploration of the place through language and maths, shapes and geometry, which I hope to use in my classroom as a teacher in ece60 in the future. Signing off, Deepan Gilhotra.